Well, I'm really excited for a full-length trailer. I think that the first one kind of honestly divulged a lot and gave a lot of, even though it was quick snippets, it gave us a lot of cool stuff.
If you know the story,
yeah, you can really like dissect it.
It gave you, is this trailer real or is it fake?
Let's try something different. What did you do?
The second game is going to be turned into either 2 or 3 seasons of the show, so that'll be seasons 2, 3, potentially 4. It's a very long story in the game. It's one of the longer games I've played, so there's a lot of details to pick out in this trailer.
Welcome to Backseat Directing,
where we talk about movies, TV shows, comics, and more.
We're your hosts,
Andrew
and Aaron.
We put out new episodes every Monday and Thursday.
And today we're reacting to the new Last of Us trailer.
Season 2. 3, 2, 1, action.
About a month ago, we reacted to their teaser that they dropped.
Yes.
But now we have a full 2-minute trailer of season 2 of The Last of Us, your favorite video game of all time.
And the question that everyone's asking, Aaron, is there going to be AI-generated images in this 2-minute trailer?
Is this trailer real or is it fake? Well, we're here to answer that question for you.
I'm really excited for a full-length trailer. I think that the first one kind of honestly divulged a lot and gave a lot of, even though it was quick snippets, it gave us a lot of cool stuff.
If you know the story,
yeah, you can really like dissect it.
It gave you Easter eggs.
We got to look at Isaac. We got to look at Ellie's new tattoo. A bunch of cool little stuff. We broke that down in our previous one. If you want to check out the breakdown of the teaser trailer, you can go back in our videos and find that. We've already been through and sieved through all that. But I think it's safe to call this one a breakdown too. I think we have enough knowledge on The Last of Us to kind of pick apart what they're showing us here.
Yeah, definitely.
I love this game, man. Love it to death.
I know you do. It's one of your favorite characters.
Ellie.
Right?
Ellie is one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. Yeah. It's like Batman, Ellie.
That's some prestigious company that you're putting Ellie in.
I'm not going to forget about some people, but I mean, they're right there. They're at that level. She's so great. I love she has this Rick Grimes component of her of just being a survivor. And she's like a feral animal when it comes to surviving. She's so awesome.
Yeah, she definitely proves herself in part 2. That's for sure.
And Ashley Johnson, magnificent voice actress. I love Bella Ramsey as well, so I'm excited to see what they bring with season 2. We both really loved season 1.
Oh yeah, it was so good. It got me into the video games.
Yes,
I didn't play the games before, and cruised through the first one.
So neither of us have seen this trailer. We're going to get into it right now. I don't want to delay and make you guys wait too long. But neither of us have seen it. We've been holding off to watch it. It came out on September 26th, which is National Outbreak Day, which in the game, in the storyline of The Last of Us games, is the day of the outbreak of the cordyceps virus. So they released it on 9/26/24 this year, which is awesome planning on HBO's part, because people actually out there celebrate the day in terms of the game. Very exciting, and we've held ourselves off watching it so we can watch it and react to it live for you guys. So thank you for clicking on this. I hope you enjoy the video, and make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment below to let us know what you think.
Here we go.
You want to start or what? Let's try something different. You can't heal something unless you're brave enough to say it out loud. Say the thing you're afraid to say. Say it out loud, no matter what it is, no matter how bad. What did you do?
exactly like the game. Identical.
What in the world?
Take on me. Oh,
2025 win in 2025.
let us know. You know that Eric Andre meme where he's like pulling at the bars? Let me in. Let me in.
Okay.
Oh, that's exciting.
You had a lot of different reactions on your face there.
Oh my
Walk
gosh.
me through this trailer here.
I don't even know if I
What were
can
you seeing?
remember everything that I saw. So some big moments in the trailer for sure. Some big points of the story that are definitely going to be hit. I know that from what I've heard, the second game is going to be turned into either 2 or 3 seasons of the show. So that'll be seasons 2, 3, potentially 4. It's a very long story in the game. It's one of the longer games I've played. So there's a lot of details to pick out in this trailer. Can't really decipher how far into the game exactly we're going to go, but we see the introduction to Abby. When we first meet Abby, she's heading out with this small crew of people from the WLF that's out on a mission that I will try not to describe. If we're going to get into spoilers, I'll announce it. If, like, spoiler specific things that are like I think are too much, I'll announce it to you guys before I get there. But we see when we first encounter Abby, we know she's going to run into this huge horde of the undead. So that'll be a really exciting point. That's where she's going to intersect with another prominent character in the plot. We get a look at the city. Is it in Wyoming or Montana? I think it's.
Is there a difference?
we live in the southeast U.S., so it's that whole region is one block away. I want to say it's Wyoming, but we see their little town, Jackson, up there. Jackson, Wyoming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously. Yeah, I know geography. So we get to see that little town and blanketed in snow. It looks gorgeous. We get like our first look at that when Ellie pushes through those doors, and some of the intricacies and characters of the town as well. Dude, every time I see Ellie or Joel holding a guitar, I want to cry. I'm like, God damn, am I watching The Wild Robot? Am I watching The Iron Claw right now? It's so crazy as you get deeper into the story. The Ellie sitting there playing the guitar with Dina like on her knees is to me is one of the most beautiful things in media that I've ever seen. Like I've watched that so many times. I have the Take on Me rendition performed by Ellie in my Spotify playlist. Like it's one of my favorite songs. Her version of it is elevated to me. It's like you just close your eyes and feel things. But Joel with the guitars, that's in the very opening of the game. I assume that's the way we're going to start the show. Very opening of Last of Us Part 2 game is Joel and Tommy are in like an abandoned house, and Joel finds a guitar and he's restringing it and he's explaining to Tommy everything that he did, which we see in the season finale of the show, the end of the game, where he killed everyone at the hospital with all the fireflies and he saved Ellie. I think that's where Tommy's like, Jesus, Joel, what did you do? And he's like, I saved her. But so that's probably where we'll start the show, and then he brings that guitar back to Jackson and he shows it to Ellie because he's trying to cheer her up. It's picking up right where the last game ended. Also, Ellie's still pretty depressed because she had this idea in her mind that she was going to be the one to save humanity, that she was going to die for something valuable, that they were going to create a cure. So she was disappointed that Joel has told her. She also feels like something's off. Obviously, she feels like something.
She didn't know that she was going to die.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But she thought that her blood was going to be turned into a cure, and all she knows is she woke up and Joel told her that's not the case. But she senses something's amiss, so she feels like Joel's lying to her. On top of the disappointment of her not being the savior that she thought she was, so he brings her the guitar and he's like trying to cheer her up. So he plays her a song at the beginning of the game, and we got a little snippet of that. It looked like here him bringing the guitar because that room looks identical. They do such a good job of mirroring scenes, whether it's the scenery or like the action dynamic and camera angles from the game. Like that scene where the fence is being crushed by the zombies and Abby's just like crawling under.
World War Z.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's on a scale that we haven't seen in the first season of the show. We did get one.
Yeah, we got that
scene.
One episode with the bloater coming out of the ground with a whole bunch of the other clickers and stuff.
thank you. You hit on another thing that's like that we spotted in this trailer. There's another iteration of the undead. So in this story, the cordyceps infected humanity, and the longer people stay infected, there's different mutations that can affect them. So that's where we see the different kinds of dead in The Last of Us. So like you've got the traditional kind that you just see walking around, and then you've got the I think they're called creepers. I'm gonna look it up on my phone for the differentiation. Aaron already mentioned the bloaters. So the idea of the bloaters is that they're someone who's been infected by the cordyceps so long that they've like mutated more intensely, so they get bigger. They get the ability to shoot like these acid blasts or throw these acid blasts. The Last of Us.
Those blasts are hard to get past in the video game too, especially when you have a horde of all these other infected coming after you. The bloaters are definitely tough to kill.
Trying to find one where they're labeled, but yeah, you're right. I died 100 times the first time I faced a bloater in that gym in the first game in the school.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got runners; those are your basic ones, and then you've got stalkers, which stalkers are the ones that are introduced in this game, if I'm not mistaken, for the first time and in this story. Stalkers are the ones that like hide in the shadows. Did you play far enough to find them?
I don't know.
So stalkers are like creeping around. You'll literally see them like poke their head out and hide, and then
I don't think so.
Jump out and sprint at you when you're not expecting it. They're the creepiest thing in the entire game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten that far. I've played through probably half of part 2, as we talked about in our last recap of the teaser trailer. I would like to play the full thing all the way through before this comes out. That's why I need a date of when this is going to be released.
Yeah, I want the release date so bad. I'm going to play the game again because I'm halfway through my second playthrough.
Don't you think it's going to be in the beginning of the year, like February-ish? Because that's when the first season came out,
like
right?
January.
Yeah, February, January, somewhere around there.
So it'd be full 2 years then by the time January rolls around.
Kind of jumping back to what you were talking about, the scale and number of these infected that we're seeing. Looks like we're going to get a healthy number of infected. That was maybe one of the bigger complaints of season 1, was that they didn't really go up against infected as much as you would in the game, which is obviously really hard to do because in the game, that's like kind of the point. You got the story, but then you're playing as these characters. It wouldn't be fun if there's only 1 or 2 clickers. But in the show, they were more sporadic. We didn't see big, large numbers. We didn't see Joel kill 10 or 15 in a row like you do in the game, getting a combo or something. But maybe in this part 2 here, we will kind of see a little bit more of the dynamic that we saw in the video game.
Yeah, I think that it'll be able to highlight the characters as a lot more badass and show their skills, because Joel's definitely feared and he's described as like this combatant, but we don't really see till the very end of the season how Joel can take on a whole squadron or like an army.
Right.
And throughout the entire game, Joel is a force to be reckoned with, taking on dozens of walkers and going back and forth. He'll take on a dozen of the runners, and then some people show up and he guns them down. Yeah, he's an animal.
That's something that's different about part 2, is that you face people a bunch.
Yeah.
In part 2, unlike in part 1, it's mostly just the infected.
Yeah.
Which adds like a different dynamic for sure, and different story elements as well.
Yeah, there's like some fireflies throughout, and then there's like David's community, and there's one community in the other community that we saw in the show in that urban city setting, but it's predominantly the zombies. And then, man, with the WLF and the what are they called? No, it's escaping me. The community that's in Seattle, that's like the rustic community.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
sorry.
We played the game. Man.
I know.
Your help here.
I know.
But I'm really excited to see the dynamic with the human side of things, because there's really in-depth conflict between those two societies that are in Seattle. Can we do what we did in the last one and go through this kind of more stopping?
Yeah, you want to kind of go shot through shot here?
Yeah, I know there's stuff that I'm missing.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Picture in picture. You let me know when you want me to stop here.
So this is some kind of therapy session with Catherine O'Hara.
The sets look big.
Yeah,
it
looks gargantuan. The wall looks amazing.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara, I think, might be a new character, because I don't think she's Tommy's wife. We saw Tommy's wife in the first season. I think she's a little bit too old to play Tommy's wife as well. Love her, though. Just watched her in Beetlejuice.
Oh, the snow looks so good.
This is the Take on Me scene. This is devastating. You haven't seen this yet. Pause. Oh,
You want me to go back?
yeah.
I got you.
That's an important character right there. Pause. So that is Jesse. He looks really well cast. This guy also looks like a stud. He's jacked. Look at the tricep on this man. I'm excited for him to play Jesse. I don't recognize him from anything else I've seen, but physically he looks like a very good fit for the character. Jesse is one of the most lovable characters in the storyline, in the arc of the game. Just to give you guys some, I'm not going to really spoil anything here yet. This is at the very beginning of the game in the show. He was dating Dina, and Dina is good friends with Ellie. So I won't say anything else to not spoil anything, but him and Dina have recently broken up at the start of the story. So that's Dina's ex-boyfriend, and he's super cool. He's a very nice guy, and he's also a badass, just like Dina, just like Ellie. Like, he can handle himself out there. Man, there's so much more I want to say. Leave this open to people. That's Tommy. All right, pause it right there. There might be another shot of it. Yeah, there's the other shot of it.
What did you do?
That's Abby right there. So
There?
yeah.
Oh, look, creeping in the back.
Yeah, I was gonna call it a creeper too originally, but it's called a stalker. And they move in like small hordes, so there'll be like 5 or 6 of them. And like I said, these are the most frightening thing in the game because they just have like these little noises that play.
Just the normal ones are scary.
Well,
There was one where you were going and clearing like this bathroom and you opened the stall and it was like right in the back. And I was like,
well, they've got you so intent on like trying to find like supplies that you're like, oh, I wonder what's in here.
Yeah.
But these things are so frightening, and they do. I hope they do a good job of building suspense in the show. Because when I'm walking around in the game, I got my shotgun out. I'm like around every corner for these things. Because then
you hear something in the kitchen. You're like, in real life.
But they do such a good job in the game because they always show you them first. Like, you'll turn a corner and you'll see them scatter across the floor, and then they all like run to hide in the dark corners of the room. So you're like, where are they? And then they spring out at you. And they're a really good addition to the game. They're very frightening. So I'm glad to have them added. From what the internet says, they're the second stage of the cordyceps infection.
Gotcha.
So they get worse and worse as it gets longer.
What did you do?
What did you do?
It's Abby.
That's Abby. She's going to be a major, major character. She's from Seattle, from the WLF, but she has a backstory that intertwines with the characters from the first season. That's all I'll say.
Look at that.
That's an awesome shot, too, through the binoculars. Love a good binocular shot. This is very claustrophobic shot style. I wonder who's pointing that gun. Wish I knew. I do. The scars. They are called scars. That
yes.
On the walls from scars. This is Isaac interrogating a scar, showing that they're,
look at all of them going up against the wall.
Guys. Yeah, that fire looked really cool. This is from an epic scene in the game. That red lighting you'll see.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there's a subway sequence in the game where like the emergency lights are on in the ceiling of the subway because everything's destroyed, and that red ambient glow makes for such cool lighting. Very frightening part of the game. It's hard to see down there, and you fight a couple. Oh, you know what I bet we'll see? I'm going to go through all the iterations now, just to explain for people who have only seen the show. I have 5 levels of infection from the cordyceps. So when somebody's infected by that fungus that we see in the first season, the first thing they become is a runner. That's your basic zombie. They just run when they hear or see somebody, and they try to infect you as well with the fungus. The second level we already talked about as well, that's the stalkers. They are more prone to hide in the shadows, and then they'll jump out and lunge at you when they have a moment's opportunity. The third stage of the infection is going to be clickers. We've all seen clickers. They're heavily in the first game. They're also a decent amount in the first season of the show. Clickers operate solely based on sound. You could be standing right in front of them making no sound and they won't know you're there, so they use sonar. But when they hear a sound, they move very quickly and they're very deadly. So they have like an instantaneous strike. If they touch you in the game or the show, you're dead. There's no, like, the runners will swing at you and do some damage.
Yeah.
Clicker gets a hold of you,
Dead.
they're
Gone.
biting your neck right off your body.
Yep. That's when you slam the controller onto the floor.
So the fourth stage is bloaters, which we also talked about already. We see them for the first time in the game, in the gym, in the high school. And the bloaters are so far evolved in their fungal infection that they've become enlarged, and then they can throw those acidic blasts, and they can take an incredible amount of damage. We saw those in the first season as well in that city street area.
Their weakness is fire.
Yes. God, you got to have some Molotovs or you are screwed. So there's another infection. Yeah, that's what it is here. It's also considered the fourth stage, so I guess you can go either direction and become a bloater, or you can become a shambler. And I don't know if you played far enough into the second game to see shamblers, but shamblers are a lot like bloaters. They just move a little bit quicker, and they like kind of go down on all fours and release this like smoke cloud of the fungal infection, and it's really far reaching, so it's like this big blast that can do a lot of damage to you. And they're very hard to fight. They're also weak to fire. And then the only stage beyond that, I only remember seeing one time throughout all of the games, and they call it the Rat King. It's this monstrosity that's even bigger than the shamblers and bloaters, probably 2 times its size. It's tall and wide and just grotesque and monstrous, and it looks like the most mutated you can imagine, and it can withstand an incredible amount of hits and damage. This thing is so hard to kill.
That's crazy. It sounds like there's a lot of variations of these zombies that I haven't encountered yet, and I'm halfway through the second game.
We got some surprises in store for you, man. You got to see the stalkers. So. The stalkers are my favorite, but they make me so nervous.
Do you want to get into spoiler territory and talk about, what happens in the game a little bit, what we think we'll see in this season? We kind of already did this for the teaser episode.
Yeah, it's the very tail end, but I say why not do it again?
All right, so if you haven't played the game and you don't want season 2 to be spoiled or the game to be spoiled, click subscribe and then leave.
And you've seen what we said already. These are going to be major spoilers.
Yes.
Huge spoilers.
Yes.
It's going to be huge, Tampa.
That's right. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
The big thing is going to be our conjecture for how far we think that they're going to go into the story. We know that they're going to make it to the subway in this season, so we're going to see a lot of stuff. We're going to see Abby and her little gang of wolves finding Joel and killing him. That is a certainty. Every time you win,
not ready.
Too much.
Not ready.
So we're going to see. We're going to see the start of the romance between Dina and Ellie. This is also something I didn't want to spoil. Even though Dina's recently broken up with Jesse, she is bisexual, and she's going to eventually have this amazing relationship with Ellie that is definitely one of my personal favorite relationships in fiction. It's just hard to watch because it's so tumultuous as you go further into the game. I don't want to spoil anything for you either, but they have struggles. Ellie's a hard person to love, I think. She's raised by a hard
like
person
you.
to love, Joel. Exactly like me. That's why I identify with her so much. But also, the other thing in the story, do you think we'll get to the realization of, I don't know if you know that.
Oh.
Did you see them get to the movie theater in the game? That's like their base of operations in Seattle.
I think so. Is it a movie theater or like a stage?
Yeah, it's like a stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm there. Are you talking about where Dina's pregnant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that part.
Yeah. So do you think we'll get to seeing Dina's pregnancy? I don't know.
Don't you think that'd be a good stopping point? Or no, the red subway stuff is after that, isn't it?
I believe so, because I'm replaying it, and I'm like basically just getting out of the red subway, and I've already seen, because we already found Jesse and went back to the theater, and he talks to her there and everything. So she already had the conversation with Dina where she's like, oh, like I'm a liability, and she's like, yeah, you are a liability.
So then we're definitely going to see that.
I think so. So we're going to get a lot of drama, and we're going to see a decent amount of Jesse if he's coming back into the story. Basically what happens in the game is after they kill Joel, Ellie wants to go on like a mission to go and find Abby and her gang and take them out one by one because Ellie wants blood. And Joel's dead. Tommy, Joel's brother, and Tommy's wife tell her like, no, this isn't a good idea. You shouldn't do that. It's too dangerous. And then Tommy goes out on his own anyway. And it's like devastating to Tommy's wife. But like he's I think Tommy's mentality is like Joel would do this for me if it was
Mm.
me. And then Ellie kind of says like, if screw it, if he's going, I'm going. And then Dina's like, well, if you're going, I'm going. So Dina and Ellie leave and go off to Seattle. They're going after Tommy and also going after these people that Tommy's trying to kill, this small gang of the Wolves group. That the reason that they killed Joel is because Abby's father was killed, and many of their friends amongst the group were members of the Fireflies that were at the hospital where Joel just massacred
Killed them
everybody.
all.
So Abby has a close tie to somebody that Joel murdered in cold blood when her dad was really just trying to save humanity. And there's a lot of moral conflicts to this conversation because nobody got Ellie's permission, despite the fact that they kind of have an idea of what Ellie would have wanted to do, most likely. Nobody got Ellie's
Yeah, but
permission.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, that's a heavy
decision
to make. You know, like,
it's also a heavy
do you
decision.
save the whole world and die, or for the possibility of saving the world? You know, or do you just say no and you live because you don't want to take that risk? Like, that's not an easy decision.
You always make this argument, and I do agree that you can never really know, but I think like we basically know that Ellie would have done it. Like from my analysis of Ellie's character, and just her general anger later in the story when she learns the truth.
Do you think it would have worked?
I think that it could have worked. I mean, they have primitive technologies, but the way that they were painting it out to me, like the scientists seem to have a lot of confidence in their ability to replicate it.
People are also very confident that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, but they're not scientists. They're not doctors. It could be either way. I think regardless of whether it would have worked, I think it was worth the chance. But also, as I've always said, whenever we talk about The Last of Us, I would like to think that if I were in Joel's shoes and had the capability to do what Joel can do, that I would do exactly what he did.
But if you were in Ellie's shoes, you would go and save the whole world.
I would try to.
Man, you're an honorable guy.
But like I said, it's like what I would want to do. It's a very unrealistic situation.
Even though those are two opposite decisions.
Yeah.
As Ellie, you would save the world. As Joel, you would just save Ellie.
Yeah, maybe I would be a coward in either situation and not do what I wanted to do. But that's what is cool about our heroes is we can try to imagine that we would do the same thing they would. Give us some inspiration. In Joel's case, it's inspiration to mercilessly slaughter a hospital
Hundreds
worth
of people.
But I love both characters to death, so I'm really excited to see them come back on screen. So like I was saying, Ellie and Dina are chasing after Tommy, and they're just taking out this like band of probably like 7 or so wolves, like one at a time, and then they're encountering this whole wealth of story and backstory and everything. That's like what we see a little bit of. Like we highlight this conflict between the wolves and the scars. The wolves in that scene, Isaac is interrogating a scar. They have like all these prison style, like what do you call a single cell? They have cells.
Mm-hmm.
Basically cells with captured scars that they're like interrogating for information to find out where their base camp is, details to it. I think they kind of know where their base camp is. It's like this island off the coast of Seattle, but it's brutal. Like the way that you see this random scar being treated, you know, they're like half naked and bloodied and beaten. So even though the story kind of paints out the scars as villainous from Abby's perspective, that's the whole thing about the Last of Us storyline, is that perspective is everything. When you change perspective, everybody's a different hero from that point of view. So the scars are villains from the wolf's point of view, vice versa. Abby's a villain from Ellie's point of view, vice versa. You know, it's very cool storytelling, and I think a lot of people can't get on board with it because it's not quite so linear and not quite so black and white. But I think that it's what makes the story so good.
Yeah, it's a very divisive part of the game, is that we're not only following Ellie, but we're also following Abby an equal amount.
How do you think that's going to play out in the show? Do you think that they're going to do it simultaneously and we get a lot of both points of view in one season? Or do you think that it's going to be like the end of season 2 and then we pick up Abby's perspective in season 3?
I think they should intertwine it like they did in the game.
You spend long time sequences in the game where you're only Abby or only Ellie. Do you think it's going to be more so just back and forth throughout the whole thing, or more long?
I think maybe we'll get like one episode where we follow Abby the whole time, and then after that, maybe it'll be split a little more evenly once we kind of like get Abby's story a little bit more.
Yeah, they have to really get into Abby to like catch her up because of all the time we've had with Ellie.
Right, or maybe they start off by like kind of splitting perspectives in an episode or two, and then they go into like the Abby episode, and we get like her big arc, and
Yeah.
then from there on it kind of goes bounce back and forth. Because I imagine if they like go back and forth each episode, people aren't going to like that because they're going to want to be with Ellie
It's
more.
too jarring. I
Yeah.
think how I would approach it is kind of like how you said, start one episode whenever you're gonna have heavy Abby, because you have some Abby early on in the series when she's gonna run into Joel
Mm-hmm.
and meet him at that like
Mm-hmm.
vacation style place or that ski resort maybe. So we're gonna have Abby there, but I think when you go back to Ellie heavily, and when you do bring Abby back, I think you do a full Abby episode, and then after that, it's like an episode that's like dominated by Abby with some Ellie, and then an episode dominated by Ellie with some Abby. That way, we're getting back to see what Ellie's doing, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's more of like she doesn't have as much to do in that time period, you know.
Right.
But in the game, it goes like a week, and it's like Monday as Abby, Tuesday as Abby, and so it's like you get an idea of that they're doing different things at the same time, but you're getting that whole week as Ellie, and then you go back and do the whole week as Abby until they run into each other and the stories converge.
It's tough because the game is so long.
Super long. Yeah.
So it's got to be tough when the showrunners are like making the decision of what to translate into the show, because they're different mediums. I mean, you see stories made into movies and shows that were like books, and that's a completely different medium. Video games are a little bit closer, but it's still different. It's still a longer format. You get to spend a lot more time with these characters,
Super
and
passionate.
you are the characters yourself. So you develop a connection that's maybe even deeper than you would by just watching or reading a show. So deciding what you put into a show has got to be really tough.
Yeah, I think that I was really, really excited when I realized how long the game was, because you play, like I said, all that time as Ellie, and then it goes back to like the start of that week and you're Abby at the stadium. And I was like, oh, sick. I have all these days as Abby, so that I have so much more game. And
Mm.
then even after that, you go back to playing as Ellie to like hunt down Abby again. So it's like very, very long with these long arcs of one character chasing the other, like this cat and mouse story. And it's very enjoyable in game format because I just love the world and I want to be in it and play it more. But in TV show format, you don't want things to feel dragged out because you're not
Right.
getting that play component.
Yeah.
It's just the watch.
I think they have to be careful with the flashbacks too.
Yeah, like making them count but not overdoing them.
Right.
'Cause
Because some of them are pretty long in the video
The
game.
museum one is super long because you start
Yeah.
out swimming and then you get to the dinosaur.
Or even
and
when
outside.
Abby's like with her boyfriend or whatever for a while at the
Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Jump off into the water and then
Mhm.
to the museum or the
Yeah.
aquarium. The
Yeah.
aquarium. There's gonna be so many cool
because like
sets.
you
But-
can't have multiple episodes with most of it being a flashback. I think that would be too much. It'd be slow. It would, it
Yeah.
would kind of take away from the main story a little bit. So if they're gonna do flashbacks, I feel like you got to do like 10-minute segments kind of thing
I
at,
think if-
at the most.
If anything's going to be a really long flashback, I think it'll be Ellie's birthday at the museum because that has a lot of Joel in it and a lot of characterization for their relationship. Then there's a flashback later that you probably haven't seen yet, which I'll spoil, where Ellie learns the truth about what happened at the hospital that day.
I saw
That's
that.
really momentous, and I think that'll have to be in there as an important. I think that can be done shorter because it's just a conversation at a campfire. But if they're going to do a longer one to develop their relationship, I think it would be the museum because that one has a lot of important moments and it has just a lot of sweet moments, like her jumping off the dinosaur,
Mhm.
them riding in the rocket ship, then like listening to the music. And it's I hope that that one gets more time in the sun, but then like we don't need as much time with Abby and Owen. It's Owen, right? I think it's his name.
Sounds familiar.
I'm really excited to see Lev and Yara. I hope that they get into this first season.
Yeah.
That's more into Abby's story, kind of a little bit into Abby's individual story, but it depends how they intertwine it, because that's Abby like getting that understanding of how the scars live and feel is technically happening simultaneously to what Ellie is like hunting down and killing her friends.
Yes.
Hope we get some badass Tommy moments too, because Tommy with that sniper is deadly.
Oh yeah.
Tommy with that sniper is a menace to society. He's like Bobley Swagger and Shooter, dude. He doesn't miss.
This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. I hope we get this sooner than later.
January. Don't dream. Don't give me hope. Don't give me hope.
Come on. It starts in the winter time. It comes out in the winter. It makes sense.
Don't make it make too much sense because then we'll be really disappointed if it's coming out.
Dude, it came out in January last time.
What if they're like 2025 and then they're like December? each
Oh,
viewers.
And then they split it up into 2 parts, like
Yeah.
Invincible.
I don't know why they would even. They could at least put a season, 2025 spring. You know,
Yeah, why do you think they do that? Just
to
to
hurt us.
really get you on the edge of your seat, or what?
I don't know, but it's stupid.
I mean, because it's got to be done, right?
It's probably done. They're wrapped filming, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so it's probably close to done.
yeah.
I would imagine. Like, there's a lot of. I think there's gonna be a lot more CGI in this season.
What do you think they're going to add? Because I mean, that's a hard thing to guess, but
What they're gonna add that's not in the game.
or expand upon that's in the game.
I think
Because
they're
like
gonna.
they did in what was it episode 3 with the 2 guys? I forget their names.
Oh yeah,
like-
played by Ron Swanson.
Yeah, but like that was a lot more in depth in the show than it was in the
Yeah,
game. Do you
Frank.
think they're going to do anything like that?
Bill and Frank, maybe.
I think you're right.
I think one of the main things they're going to add, looking at the trailer, is like more insight into Joel's mind with this little therapy session with Catherine O'Hara. So maybe we get like a Sopranos style insight into Joel's mind with this conversation. I can't imagine it would be that much of the show because they have way too much to get into. I don't know if they're going to add any more development to other characters. Like, the game doesn't spend very much time on Jesse at all. So maybe if they want to give us more of a connection to Jesse, they'll like add in something for Jesse, and more
Yeah.
look into his backstory and more time with him and Dina, maybe.
I think it's got to be a little bit easier to develop like your side characters in a show than a video game. Because in the video game, you're playing as the main character, so any moments
Not with them.
not with them, you're missing out on. But in the show, you can follow different people and be in like a room where the main character isn't necessarily there. So yeah, they can maybe iron out a few relationships a little bit more.
I hope they add in Abby benching. I think she says at one point that she hit 225.
Absolutely, Jack.
Abby's a
I think
unit.
she did.
She's an absolute unit. I think there's like voice acting of her saying she hit 225. So put her on the on the bar.
What would you say the percentage of guys out there in the world that could hit 225 bench?
I've seen this in like a video, and I think it's like just conjecture, but I think it's like 3% of people.
So now translate that into women.
Oh yeah,
Like,
0.03,
dude,
like
crazy.
0.3. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an incredible accomplishment, dude. Like hitting 225 is so hard.
Yeah.
I've hit 225 like 3 times in my life. I've never hit more. That's still my 1 rep max.
Dang. So
I'm not stronger than Abby, that's for sure.
you emotionally relate to Ellie and you physically relate to Abby.
Yeah, but I'm still not built like Abby. Have you seen her shoulders?
What are you talking about? Look at yours.
Abby's shoulders.
Dude, you
are
got the
insane.
tats and the ripped off sleeves right now. You're looking yoked over there.
Dude, Abby's jacked though. Abby's tough, dude.
Dude, if you guys want to make Andrew feel good about himself, compliment his tattoos in the comments.
Yeah.
He'll be rolling for days.
These 2 are Easter eggs for our content.
Hopefully one of them actually comes out one day.
Eventually, my son. All right, I'm really glad we watched this one. I'm so hyped for this. It's like holding off on watching this trailer has been a little hard.
Let us know if you'd want to see us stream part 2 of the video game in preparation for this new season. I think that'd be a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, dude. I mean, having to watch you die 100 times on like a simple boss is going to be a struggle, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, just be patient. Just be patient. If I die like 2 or 3 times, I'll just hand it over to you.
I'm like Joel in the first game, and you're like my little Ellie. Like, gotta look out for you.
But that just means I have more development than you.
It means you're my favorite character.
Oh, that's cute. All right, you guys excited for The Last of Us Season 2? Let us know down in the comments below. What did you think of this trailer? Did we miss anything about the game that you think is going to be in this season? How far into the game do you think this season's going to go? Let us know down in the comments below. We post new full episodes every Monday and Thursday, but we also do some extra episodes and different types of videos as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Andrew, where else are we?
We're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, Facebook. We are all over the place. Make sure to check us out for our short form content. Also, make sure to share us with friends and family because that's the best way to help the show grow organically. And Make sure to check us out on all of our podcast streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can go on there, rate and review the show as well. It just takes a couple seconds. Most of us already have Spotify. Give us a quick 5 stars. You're done. Helps the show get seen by more people. And you should also join our Discord because we can chat, talk with all of our friends. We've got some longtime viewers, some newer viewers. We just had a couple people join, and we have people who have been on the show as well as Arron and myself actively talking in there. So if you see someone on the show, they give a hot take that you think is shit, you can get in there and tell them how stupid you think they are in the Discord directly to their online face.
Yeah, and it's cool too because the Discord's been kind of getting more and more busy in there. I feel like conversations are happening without us necessarily starting the conversations, and that's really cool to see. So if you want to join that, the link is in the description of this video. It's going to cost you though, you know, inflation. We just had a hurricane, you know, things happen, you know. How much is it, Andrew?
Last time I checked, it was
free. Man, gets me every time. Again, link is in the description of the video if you want to join the Discord. Thanks so much for watching, and that's a wrap.